Are words important to men, and do they need them as much as women do?
I think that sometimes they can be even more important for men because the main fuel that affects a man's self esteem is respect. That's the main fuel for him. And when a woman demonstrates sincere and genuine respect through her words and actions, then the man, upon receiving that respect from her, will in return try to give her love, affection, and support, and will also make an effort to take care of her needs and well being. This mutual exchange helps to strengthen their relationship and fosters a deeper connection between them. So, unfortunately, in certain emotional moments, like when there's a huge surge of emotion, or irritation or offense, or in other circumstances, some women can very often hurt other men with their words, just as men do. But for a man, when he feels disrespect from his wife, for him, it's very often game over. He says, I don't see myself here anymore. I don't understand. I'm not needed here. She disrespects me. She doesn't listen to me. And my opinion here doesn't mean anything. And he may subconsciously start the process of looking for another woman on the side. I don't condone that. For me, it's 100% a bad thing. I think that if your marriage can't handle some kind of pressure and you can't build a normal relationship, you need to honestly sit down with your wife and talk about it all and seek help. In other words, you shouldn't play on two fronts because that's disrespect, first and foremost, to yourself. But for a man in general, words of support from his wife are very, very important. And the kind of relationship they can build will strongly depend on the vocabulary the wife uses to communicate with her husband.
And what kind of words could those be? I mean, practically, what could it be? What can you say?
There is an important caveat here. There isn't some single phrase or sentence or paragraph that, if you as a girl and a woman memorize it and repeat it, it will work like some kind of mantra or magic. No, every man is an individual. The approach to every man is individual. I can talk about some general principles. If you want your husband to open up next to you, to feel like a hero, to feel like a leader, to feel masculine, then you have to understand that you can add the right kindling to the fire of his self esteem. Where does it all start? A simple thank you. When you say, I thank you so much for this, and this. You're so great. You earn money, you take care of us. You're so great. You helped me do everything around the house. You're so great. You picked up Makita from school, brought him home, and all that. Thank you. You really took a load off my shoulders because I didn't have to go pick him up from school. It doesn't matter how small the thing he did was. Maybe you asked him to bring a glass of water from one room to another, and you don't think it's some heroic feat. And you're right. But you have to understand that in every person, you can find things for which you can despise them. And in every person, you can find things for which you can thank them. And on the contrary, lift them up a little, and in a good way, unlock some of their potential. And so, where the focus of your attention is, that will determine what your marriage will be like. If you, as a woman, constantly nag your husband, and you understand that on the whole, he's a more or less normal guy, and on average, 80% of things are not so bad. He doesn't go out, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, has no addictions, doesn't waste money on slot machines, doesn't cheat on you, but you like him to also be this, to be attentive, to be romantic, to say all the right things. So maybe you understand that on the whole, your man is normal, but those top 15 to 20% don't suit you. And you're like, I'm going to tell him about it. I'm going to remind him. This is his area for growth. This is, so to speak, his territory for self improvement. And I, as a wise woman, as a neck, will of course guide him correctly. So you have to understand that if you tell your husband what to do, if you criticize him, if you speak to him without love during arguments or misunderstandings, saying, and you do this, you're not that at all. You could at least start earning some decent money. I told you not to start a joint business with that man. Did you hear me? You bought some cryptocurrency. What are you even doing? If my mother knew, well, you see, in moments like these, you kill everything. Your words act like napalm, pouring chemicals all over his self esteem, and everything there is destroyed. And no matter how strong your husband is, no matter how brave and smart he is, no matter if he even works with a psychologist separately, your words will still be important to him because you are his wife. You see, it's like when a dog barks at you on the street. You can just walk past it and pay no attention. But when the closest person to us says something offensive, it hits even a very strong, very smart, and very self aware man. And so you need to start with simple things. You tell him, thank you very much, and you focus on the things he does right. If he suggested something to you, you tell him, that was great advice. I listened to it, and look what I've achieved. And at that moment, he's like, she values my advice. Good, internally. At that moment, when he feels that you've used some of his advice, even if it was advice on what to buy for dinner, these are super primitive, simple things. But you show him that he is important to you, that he is a man to you. You consult with him about a vacation and say, what do you think? We could go here or we could go there. What do you think? He says, well, I prefer this one. And you say, okay, great. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's go there. Remember those videos that sometimes go viral on TikTok where a woman said something to her husband and he was doing something and she told him, yes, you're right. And for a few months, he goes around in different situations. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. Of course, this is already a bit close to being a clinical case, when self-esteem and respect in the family are generally bad. But these kinds of videos don't accidentally get millions of views, because they reflect a certain essence. It triggers millions of Ukrainian families. And so, when you start with words of gratitude, when you give them a certain respect, and you say, I took your suggestion, I took your advice. Remember when I told you about that situation with Natasha at work? And you told me then that I shouldn't get involved, and I really kept my distance. And that was wise advice, and I did. So you start saying these simple things, but you give him a certain respect for the things he speaks into your life, no matter how small the percentage is that he's right. Maybe out of 100% of life situations, he only says something in 10 of them that you can use or agree with. But you focus your attention and start talking only about that 10%. And over time, you will see how the man in front of you will begin to feel more and more confident, smart, and he will gradually feel like a leader in the family. Because if you, as a woman, want to be number one in the family, well, I have bad news for you. I haven't met such happy women yet. Those who can be strong, fulfilled, but have an even stronger, more fulfilled husband, yes. But women who carry the family and are happy, well, I haven't seen them yet. If you have, well, write it in the comments.
But I think that such words, when you dare someone, condemn them, or point out their flaws, it's not because the woman really thinks that she is somehow influencing the man. It's the same, as when we eat McDonald's, chips, drink Coke, and only over time do you realize that some problems, some issues are arising for you. But when at that time, in that minute, you feel, yes, this anger, this rage, and you say what you think and consider to be right because you are speaking sincerely. So how at the same time do you talk about these unpleasant and difficult moments in a way that, as you said, doesn't destroy the man?
First of all, you need to talk when you are in a calm state. It's impossible to build something when you are internally in a state of a destroyer. So if you've realized as a woman that you've become emotional, you're irritated, he promised to do something for you, he didn't do it, he promised to arrive on time, he didn't arrive, he promised to allocate money from his salary to solve this problem, he didn't. Something went wrong, he spent it on the car, something else. If at that moment when you are emotional, your eyes are red, you start talking to him, even if you are 100% right. Even if from the point of view of justice, you give him arguments and you say, well, we had an agreement. You promised me. Look, I'm not asking for cosmetics for myself. This is needed for this, this, and this. In these moments, even if you are 100% right and justice is on your side, although I hate justice, it kills everything in relationships. You have to understand that truth without love, it only hits the other person. And it creates a feeling in them that I have to justify myself. I have to explain. I will feel guilty. And so a man, even if you act rationally and reasonably from all sides, but at the moment you convey this rationality and reason, you haven't forgiven him, you don't love him, he's annoying you, then you have to understand that this will lead to nothing because you are in a destructive state. And the same is true for men. You should never try to sort things out with your wife when you are in a destructive state. I call this the red and yellow state, like at a traffic light. So red means we stop, it's dangerous, we don't go. Yellow means we slow down, and only on green do we go. When we are in the green state, only then can we talk. And if a woman just tries not to sort things out with her husband when she is angry, but when she understands I need a little time to calm down, maybe I'll even cry alone sometimes. Maybe I'll write something in my journal. Maybe I'll talk to a friend, call my mom, complain about him. It's not the best idea, but it's better than dumping all the toxins that have built up inside on him. But at that moment, when you have already forgiven and you are in a green, calm state, then you can talk to him. And then the very same words that you would have said to him, say 10 hours ago when you were angry, those same words might not lead to a fight because now they can be said with love, gently and calmly. And so it's not just the words we say that are important, it's the state we're in when we say them that's important. Ladies, if you want to learn and practice how to support and inspire your husband and make him very happy to be with you, I invite you to our school for the course called Support and Inspiration. If you go through this program, you will understand male logic, sometimes even much better than men themselves understand it. Because very often we spend a huge amount of our time mastering a profession, but we don't even spend 10 hours to master some basic logic and learn about relationships. If you understand that you would like to invest this time in yourself and you would like to understand your beloved husband much better, come to the Support and Inspiration program. The details will be below this video.
But do we always need to talk? So, how do you understand when you need to help with words to support and when to just give them time without hints, without advice, just to leave them alone?
For many women, this will be a revelation, some very new information. A man doesn't need your support in moments of crisis and in moments when he feels bad. When a woman thinks, he's in a moment of crisis and turmoil, and I'm going to support him with words now, I'm going to go to him now, I'm going to say, you're great, you'll handle everything, you'll be smart, great, rich, your career will work out, I believe in you, I'm your helper. You can count on me, I've got your back. In these moments, most men feel very strange. And it doesn't help them at all. Why? Because if a woman is in a state of postpartum depression or she has some interesting hormonal cocktail in her blood, and right now she can't have sex with her husband, she doesn't want to, she's not thinking about it at all. She can't maintain the household in the same state it was in before. She's not thinking about work right now. Sometimes she might not even think much about the child they have. Because right now she's in a state of some kind of internal stupor. And imagine a man walking around the apartment and he's like, oh, dust. Well, someday it'll be clean again. I believe that someday everything will be fine. I'll clean it myself. Oh, no dare? Okay, I'll order, but someday you'll be cooking delicious food again. Well, for you, you'll be thinking, my God, what is happening? What is this? I don't need this kind of support. And when a woman thinks a man is in a crisis, something happened at work, he lost money, got fired, had a conflict with someone, fought with his parents, something happened, an idea didn't work out. And at that moment, I come and start to, so to speak, comfort him. For him, it's just as strange as the example I just gave, where the man would walk around and say, well, but someday our children will be tidy again and will do their studies on time. Nonsense. Men don't do that. And that's why a man doesn't need all those kind words of support during a crisis. A man needs words of support in his moments of success. When he breaks through to a new level, when he gets out, when a deal works out for him, when instead of the usual $2,000 for him as an IT guy, for example, he earned 10. And these moments, he needs support because in these moments, he has a moment of frustration. When he buys a new car from the dealership, in these moments, he needs support. Because he strived for this goal for, say, several years. He bought it, and now he's in a state of frustration, thinking where to go next. He's disoriented here. And so in these moments, you need to lend a shoulder, ask, talk, offer help, maybe, something else. That is, you need to help a man when he's moving up, when everything is going great. But when he's in a critical state, you need to not touch him. Surround him with other men who are in a slightly better state right now. That is, if he's in a crisis now, you shouldn't, of course, surround him with alcoholics, because he'll be the fourth or fifth alcoholic in a row. You need to surround him with men who are in a better state right now, and he will gradually get out of all this with them. And so when there's a crisis, don't touch him. Give it time. They'll figure it out. When he's reaching a new level, that's when you need to ask. Offer help perhaps, ask about certain things, maybe suggest some things. Because a man feels frustrated when he's reaching a new level, not when things are going badly. When things are bad, he's mobilized. He understands what to do. Your pity and all that, "You're my man, you'll definitely make it, I believe in you." Those kinds of words, those sentiments can only, well, bring him down and hurt him, even if you mean well. I understand that not all men, maybe even those listening right now, will agree with this perspective. And they'll say things like, "No, I need help for my wife, support for my wife when things are bad, when life gets tough." But from my experience, from my conversations and interactions communicating with men who are, somewhat in business, who are involved in their careers, and let's say I think they have good families. They're good at building relationships. They have strong connections with their loved ones. They don't need those kinds of words from a woman when things are bad, when they're facing difficulties or challenges. What they actually need, what is truly important to them, is support when everything is good, when things are going well, when life is on track. It's in those moments of success and happiness that support from their partner, from their wife, is most meaningful and valuable to them, rather than during times of hardship when words of encouragement might feel patronizing or even discouraging. If he doesn't ask for it, you don't really need to give it because people sometimes forgive criticism more easily than advice. Because advice implies that I see the situation from up here while you're fumbling around down here. And I, from the height of my experience and, so to speak, my mind and intellect, am giving you, you clueless Pinocchio, some advice. So for many people, especially for men, advice from women is a bit, well, I understand that there are self aware men who work on themselves. When my wife comes to me with advice, it doesn't hit me or crush me, but, well, excuse me, I have some training. I'm constantly learning, working on this. I'm working on my emotional intelligence. And so we've built a relationship where, well, we give each other permission to give advice calmly. But in many families, if a woman starts advising her husband and saying, no, that's wrong, that yes, you shouldn't do this, which means you should do that, then she starts to, so to speak, take over the family's management. She gets behind the wheel of this family car instead of him and starts to act as the number one. So, of course, she advises him once, advises him a second time, a third time, and at some point he's like, look, just drive yourself. I don't want to. I'm fed up with figuring out who's the boss here. I'm fed up with trying to prove this will work. I'm just fed up. And so the woman seems to have good intentions. She wants to save the family's money. She doesn't want to waste time, money, and nerves. She wants everything to work out. In other words, her intentions are good. But if she tells the man what to do, first of all, if he actually does everything she says, she will start to lose respect for him. She will lose her sexual attraction to him. He will cease to be interesting to her as a man. Because a man who becomes your lapdog and you say, do this, and he does it, you say, no, no, let's change it, and he runs off in another direction, well, he's just a lapdog to you. You won't respect and perceive him as a man to whom you can entrust your life. You can entrust your life to a man who can sometimes make decisions that you don't fully understand, that aren't entirely, maybe you don't even like them sometimes. But you understand that he's creating a certain reality around himself, and you want to be a part of that reality, and you understand that he knows what he's doing. That's when you have certain feelings for him, not just physical ones, like wanting him sexually, but you want to just be with him. You want to trust him. You want to be a part of his world. It's not just about intimate closeness in every aspect. You want to be by his side. And so when women try to control their men, telling them what to do, it's a huge, huge mistake in my opinion, and you shouldn't do that. If you are 100% sure that what he is about to do is foolish, that he's about to get into the wrong thing or do something wrong, start asking questions, but not like a prosecutor at an interrogation, just calm questions. Listen, we're about to invest money into this thing you want. What if, for example, there are no clients here for a while? Or what if our barista gets sick? Who? Will you be filling in for her, or will I? In other words, start asking questions. And then at some point, he might realize on his own that his, business plan or whatever needs some adjustments. But when you start talking to him like that, pointing out his mistakes and telling him what to do, it's going to end very badly.